Venturing into a dark forest at night triggers a primal physiological shift. We are knowingly entering a space that shelters a dormant, unknown threat. This reaction is driven by evolutionary vulnerability. It is a survival mechanism hardwired into the human brain over millennia of navigating environments where we were not the primary predator. Modern security relies on clearly defined geographical boundaries. When those boundaries vanish, the brain reverts to an ancestral prey response, signaling that we are once again exposed and vulnerable. This chart compares average human sensory ranges, sight, sound, and peripheral awareness, against the capabilities of nocturnal apex predators. The visual data highlights the severe deficit in human perception once the sun sets. Our inability to map the environment creates a psychological vacuum. Because the eyes cannot confirm what is lurking in the shadows, the brain impulsively fills the empty space with projected threats. Cinematic fear relies on this weaponization of the landscape. Before a monster ever appears, the environment has already convinced the audience that their status at the top of the food chain has been revoked. The narrative focus eventually narrows, moving from the infinite void of the trees to a single, localized discovery, a structure that has no business existing in the wilderness. This is the uncanny valley of space. Human dwellings are designed for safety and life, but when they are occupied only by rot and shadows, they become deeply unsettling to our spatial logic. An abandoned house creates a psychological paradox. It is a sealed environment that somehow feels as though it is actively waiting for an occupant to return. This topographical map illustrates how filmmakers funnel anxiety, compressing the macro dread of the forest into a singular focal point. Specific architectural cues, like sharp blind corners, are interpreted as immediate hiding spots for potential ambush. The abandoned structure functions as a psychological trap. It provides the audience's vague ambient unease with a specific, unavoidable physical address. The perspective now shifts from the exterior of the house to the agonizing, forced movement through the front door. Claustrophobia is a mechanical tool used to dissolve the viewer's psychological safety net. By trapping the perspective inside, the director effectively eliminates the possibility of a retreat. Enclosed spaces trigger hypervigilance. The brain begins overanalyzing every microdetail, the texture of the peeling walls, the sound of a settling floor, searching for any clue of an impending threat. This graph plots visual processing capability during a power flicker. When the line drops to 0, room mapping fails, spiking cognitive panic. Erratic peripheral anomalies detected in these blackout zones trigger our deepest predator detection instincts, forcing us to guess. The walls seal the viewer into a suffocating proximity with whatever secret is lurking just a few inches away. Terror peaks when we realize that the architecture has methodically stripped away every route for escape. Every step forward has systematically dismantled the path back to safety. The camera suddenly yanks backward, abandoning the bungalow to the fog and pulling the audience back out into the open air. This sudden shift from micro-claustrophobia to the macro void of the night sky creates an immediate sense of psychological whiplash. This distance provides a resolution state. Seeing the house from a distance creates a sense of safety, suggesting that the danger has been left behind in the structure. However, the visual composition reveals the threat has already breached the physical boundaries of the house. This is a fourth wall intrusion. When an entity looks directly down the lens, it violates the protective barrier of the screen, implying that the threat is now aware of the person watching it. The systematic narrowing of space, from the woods to the house to the hallway, has functioned as a funnel, stripping away our defenses, bringing the hidden threat into focus. The ultimate mastery of spatial dread leaves the viewer with a permanent consequence: the realization that fear has successfully followed them out of the story and into the dark.